Australia doesn't exist and people who live there are actors paid by NASA. Flat earthers claim. The first embarrassing thing I'm going to point out is that they have made a spelling error in the title and they have written Australia doesn't exit. Come on. Now the other night I was on my couch minding my own business, scrolling through Facebook, and an article popped up that really stood out to me, and it was a conspiracy about Australia not existing and that Australians are paid actors. And you know what? I'm the kind of person that really is into conspiracies. Like, how are we supposed to know what to believe and what not to believe these days? Like, anything is possible, really. And for the longest time, I've always thought I should make conspiracy theory videos. I've never done it, but I thought this is the perfect way for me to start because it's about Australia and I am Australian. Or am I? I thought, you know what, I'm gonna sit down today and we are going to read this article together and debunk it and basically see what these flat earthers have to say. Now, I'm sure most of you will know about the flat earth conspiracy. That in itself is a whole nother video. But anyway, let's sit down and go through this article together. I haven't read it yet and I'm so interested because come on. There are many conspiracies out there that could be believable, but this one, I'm not so sure on. The title once again, Australia doesn't exist, and people who live there are actors paid by NASA. Can you actually imagine if this was true? This is like some Truman Show sort of shit. Have any of you guys seen The Truman Show? It is such a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is so good. When you watch that movie, it makes you think about life in a completely different way. It's basically where Jim Carrey, he plays this guy and his whole life is a lie and everyone around him is an actor. It's just a really good movie. You have to go and see it. But anyway, this makes me think of that. Like, can you imagine if all of a sudden all of us came out and said, I got something that I've been meaning to tell you guys for the longest time now and it's finally out there. Australia doesn't exist. I can't do the accent, but can you just imagine? So the article says, there's a growing number of people who seem to think the world is in fact flat. Do you guys believe that? Leave a comment below. Do you honestly think the world is flat and that we've been lied to about it being round? Like, honestly, is there anyone watching this who thinks the earth is flat? I genuinely want to know. But it gets better. They also insist that Australia is actually just one big hoax. According to a viral Facebook rant, the entire country and presumably the 24 million people that live there is completely fake. I mean, if I wasn't from Australia and I'd never been here, what would stop me from believing this? This could literally be a Truman Show kind of setup. It then says, the idea resurfaced at some recent gathering of the so-called flat earthers in the Birmingham. Who wrote this? Recently, where over 200 people came together to confirm to each other that the earth is nothing more than a giant pancake. What does this have to do with Australia? Now, there is a post from the Flat Earth Believers Facebook page. Have you ever been to Australia? Australia is not real. It's a hoax made for us to believe that Britain moved over their criminals to some place. In reality, all these criminals were loaded off the ships into the waters, drowning before they could see land ever again. It's a cover-up for one of the greatest mass murders in history, made by one of the most prominent empires. Australia does not exist. All things you call proof are actually well-fabricated lies and documents made by the leading governments of the world. Your Australian friends, they're all actors and computer-generated personas, part of the plot to trick the world. I wonder if there's anyone watching this video now who is not from Australia who would actually believe this, because, you know, I know for a fact that where I live is real and that I am real and I am Australian. But I can kind of see this from like an outsider's point of view. From an outsider's perspective, it's not that not believable. Like, I have heard way worse conspiracies. It then goes on to say, if you think you've ever been to Australia, you're terribly wrong. What? The plane pilots are all in on this. and have in all actuality only flown you to islands close nearby, or in some cases parts of South America where they have cleared space and hired actors to act out as real Australians. Holy shit, can you imagine how big of a project that would have to be to pull that off? Australia is one of the biggest hoaxes ever created, and you have all been tricked. Join the movement today and make it known that they have been deceived. You got us! We have been caught out. They have got us. Got you. This has all been a big joke. We aren't real. This place that we live in isn't real. I'm actually in South America. The amount of money I would pay to go to one of these flat earth conventions, like if I could see 200 people sitting in a room talking about the flat earth and how Australia is all made up and it's one big act, I would die so happy if I could see that. And if Australia isn't real, NASA owes me 25 years worth of money for all this acting I've been doing. In terms of the article, that is literally all there is. That is all the context that there is. And I don't know if it's just me, but this seems to be pretty poor in terms of evidence. Where is your evidence that Australia isn't real? Like, come on. You're gonna write something as bold as this. I want facts and proof. And they have provided us with absolutely nothing. As interesting as this is, and as much as it reminds me of The Truman Show, I think I see this from a different perspective than someone would who is from the other side of the world. I obviously live in South America, Australia. I obviously live in Australia, and I haven't ever been paid from NASA, but who knows? Maybe if you lived in another country and you had never been to Australia, you hadn't really done much research on the place, you know, Australia is really far away from everything else, so it kind of might be a little bit believable to some people. Like, would you believe this? If you aren't from Australia, leave a comment down below. What are the chances of you believing this? Like, would you question it for a second? Would you straight up just go, no, that's a lie? Leave a comment down below and let me know. And as for all of you Australians watching, I think you'd kind of be in the same boat as me. You would look at this once and just think, what the fuck? Because that is exactly what I thought the moment this article popped into my Facebook feed, and I just had to sit down and go through this with you guys in a video. Anyway guys, that is all the time I have for today's conspiracy theory video. Has this really been a conspiracy video? I don't know. Should I do another one on a topic that we can go more in depth into and kind of look at? You know, I feel like this one is very one-sided for me because I am Australian. Let me know in the comments below, are there any conspiracies you'd like me to cover? Do let me know. As always, don't forget to thumbs up this video, and I'll see you all in my next one, which will be sometime in the very near future. Bye guys! Peace out, doggies!